Good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? Nice to see you all. Seeing some familiar names in the chat, always nice. Lolly Lolly, Gertie. Who do we have? Rod Yal, Miriam, Kelvin, Emad, Maya. Perfect. Good. Nice to see you all. Sounds like some of you are having, it's going great, Kelvin, you said. Right on, right on. That's always good to hear. Nice to see you guys. Plinio, hello. Jamil. Nice. Good. Well, we are going to do our 36th stream together, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. It's raining again here in Vancouver. Not nice anymore. But we did have a really good sunny streak there. We had several days in a row of no rain, so that was really, really nice. And now again back to regular winter weather. So today we're at the end of the 12 Core 120 intermediate level grammar units. Okay, so we're going to be talking about phrasal verbs today again. Okay, we've had a few classes with phrasal verbs. Can never have enough. There are so many in English. Arturo, welcome to the chat. First day, that's awesome. Yeah, please participate and ask any questions. Yeah, so I'll change my screen and we'll get going. Here we go. Phrasal verbs, yes. So, if you're interested, I hope you're interested in this topic. If not, I'm sorry. But yeah, phrasal verbs, lots to talk about. Some of them are easier than others, and there is a little bit of grammar to go with them, which we'll do some review. Yeah, difficult for sure, for sure. Hello, Maddie and Salim from Turkey. Nice, nice. And Iran, right on. Good to see you guys. All right, let's begin. So we are going to be focusing on a few different particles and others, but on, off, up, and down are the particles that Smrt focuses on, okay? These four. For your memory, to remind you, a particle is a little word like this, okay? On, off, up, or down. And a particle, it can be an adverb or it can be a preposition, okay? And they are attached to a verb, okay? Sometimes you have one particle, sometimes you have more, two, okay? They are useful, but they are so difficult. Well, then I'm glad you're here for this stream, because hopefully it will help you out then and make them a little bit less difficult. Lamik from Norway, right on. Good to see you in the chat. Or Daniel, I'm not sure which name you go by. So let's look at this first sentence here. We're using present continuous, is taking off, because it's a definite plan, okay? So a verb plus a preposition, Calvin. The verb comes first. The preposition comes after. Yeah. And sometimes the particle is an adverb, sometimes it's a preposition. Generally, an adverb particle is more attached to the verb, whereas a preposition particle is more attached to the noun that follows it, okay? But if we're talking about the phrasal verb taking off, a lot of times phrasal verbs have a more formal synonym as well, because phrasal verbs are more casual. So what could we say is a synonym for taking off? Anyone know? Another word with the same meaning? English teacher in France. Hello, welcome. fellow teacher. Tanzu, not landing off, no. Maya, launch. Yes, so the spaceship is launching tomorrow. Yeah, that's right, Miriam. We want, launch is probably the official word for spaceship, yes. But we can use the verb, the spaceship is leaving tomorrow, or the spaceship is departing tomorrow. But launching, of course, is the most correct because spaceships launch, whereas airplanes are a little bit different, right? Good, English teacher in France. I'm happy you're in the chat. Yeah, it's always nice to kind of compare how different teachers do things. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy the lesson. Yeah. Good, good. So, we have taking off, which is very, very commonly used for airplanes and spaceships, okay? Take off, but please be aware that take off is also used for humans when they decide to leave, okay? For example, if I'm at my friend's house and I'm getting tired, I might say, I think I'm gonna take off now, okay? Or I'm gonna take off in 10 minutes. It means leave, okay? It's very casual. Yes, Lolly, here you have a fellow French person from France. That's awesome. All right, let's continue. Okay, so this is a bit of a review from a previous stream, okay? So to remind you guys, phrasal verbs are mainly used in spoken English, very, very common in spoken English. A lot of them, you can kind of guess what they mean, like I'm going to take off my sweater, for example. But a lot of them are, very difficult to know until you learn what they mean, because they have a very different meaning from the words that they are, So yeah, we're gonna talk about some of the more strange ones today as well. So I'm seeing some more people joining in. Amen Yar, hello, nice to see you. Maddie, that's right, leave is also usable for humans. Take off, yeah, let's take off in 10 minutes, which means let's leave in 10 minutes, okay? And of course, take off has a totally different meaning, which I just used and Kelvin used for items of clothing. Please take off your hat. Please take off your shoes. Yeah, so again, it really, you have to rely on context for a lot of it as well. Plinio, Kelvin, yes, you can, that was correct. You can say, I am taking off my shoes, or please take off your shoes, or please take your shoes off, okay? Sometimes you can put the object in the middle, okay? Hi, Pillar, nice to see you. Okay, so again, particle can be a preposition or an adverb, and they are used with verbs in front of them. So, again, like I said, here are some examples of different particles. Okay, is it big enough for you guys? They're a little bigger. So again, put on. We often use this for placing objects on surfaces. Like, can you please put the groceries on the table, for example? Or I'm going to put my phone on your desk, okay? But it's also for clothing, okay? For clothing. Maya, take off. Exactly, it does mean that. And that's why phrasal verbs are tricky, because they have several different meanings. And yes, take off is used in business, okay? When your business is quickly succeeding and doing well, making a profit. You could say like, our business was slow for many years, but it finally took off last year. So if I say it finally took off, it finally gained momentum and success. Yeah, for sure. You know, I want to start a new business. I hope it takes off. To success. Yeah. And that's right, Calvin. We're going to go over that for sure. Separable and inseparable. Stanislaw, definitely nice to watch in the comfort of your own home, eh? Good. Nice to have you in the chat. So yeah, sit down. Okay, again, it's pretty obvious what that means, to sit down. Okay, down is for direction. Sit up. A lot of people say that too. Like if you're slouching, like if I'm like sitting really low, someone might tell me, hey, sit up. So that means straighten up, have better posture. Okay. A lot of, times we might say this to children when they're at the dinner table, slinking down almost under the table, like sit up, eat your dinner. Yeah, so it's direction, sit up or sit down. Let's continue. Now, sometimes the meaning of the phrasal verb is very difficult because it's so different from the original meaning. And take off is sort of an example of that. When it's about leaving, it's a little bit obvious, sure. But again, if it's about the success of a company, maybe you would never know that until you learn it, right? So hold up, okay? It can be used to talk about a delay. Okay, very commonly used to talk about a delay, okay? So, for example, why were you late this morning? I was late because traffic held me up. Or you can make it a passive construction. I was held up in traffic, okay? Or please don't hold me up. I need to go. Don't delay me, right? Hold up also means wait, very casual. Like if your friend is leaving and you're like, hold up, hold up, hold up. I want to come. Hold up. It's like, wait for me. Okay. And then again, the other strange meaning is for robbing somebody or a bank or something like that. But this is maybe a little bit outdated. But you could say like the criminal held up the bank. Okay. It basically means that they have a gun or some kind of weapon and nobody in the bank can do anything, okay? You can also, more commonly just say the criminal robbed the bank, okay? Madi, hold on is also okay. Hold on has a different, if you change the particle, different meaning, okay? Hold on can mean wait, but it cannot talk about a delay. We can't say I was held on in traffic. We have to say I was held up in traffic. But if we say, wait, hold up, I want to come, we can say, hold on, I want to come, right? So when we're talking about wait, hold on is also very common, okay? Or if you're riding on a bus, a public bus, oftentimes they tell you to hold on, right? That means hold on to the little poles and the straps that to steady yourself, right? Let's keep going. Throw away. Okay, so this one's kind of weird if you don't know it. If someone's like, hey, here's my pen, can you throw it away? I don't need it anymore. You might be like, what? But this just means, put it in the garbage for you. If you don't like your coffee, just throw it away. You could say that's pretty wasteful, but yeah. If you put your coffee after, that's okay. Just throw away your coffee. You can also change the order and put it here in the middle. Just throw your coffee away, okay? However, if you change your coffee to it, then there is only one place for it, and that's in the middle. Just throw it away. Hang on means hold on. Yep. If you're on the phone with someone and someone else wants something from you, you might say, hang on, hang on a minute, or hold on, same meaning. It means wait. Yeah. But hang on can also mean physically in the bus, hang on to something so you don't fall over. Yeah. Hold on to something so you don't fall over. Barbara, the plane took off. That would just be physically left the ground, right? The business took off. That is about success. So if you say the plane took off, it's related to departure. The business took off, it's related to financial success, right? Ismail, would you let me in? I am late because the traffic held me up. Okay, you need to use the past tense, held. But yes, that's good. Throw out. Exactly, Maddie. Sometimes you can change the particle and no change in meaning. Throw out your coffee if you don't like it. Same meaning. Throw away your coffee, throw out your coffee. Same meaning. Okay. So, talking about objects, okay? So you know that some phrasal verbs are intransitive, okay? The word intransitive means no object is needed, okay? But transitive means you must have an object to complete the idea, right? For example, filled up. I can't just say, I filled up in the morning. Okay? I need to say, what did I fill up? So it's transitive. I filled up my coffee mug in the morning. Okay? So if you have an object, you do need to think about where to put the object. Okay? And there are usually two possible places to put the object. Okay? That's on the outside after the particle, or on the inside, in the middle between the verb and the particle, okay? And there are exceptions to this. So that's always good to know about, the exceptions, okay? Now, let's look at these examples with put on. Here, we're using a regular noun, my jacket, okay? So I need to put on my jacket, I'm cold. Or, I need to put my jacket on, I'm so cold. Is there a difference? No, not in meaning. There's no difference, okay? Wake up. Yeah, Michaeli, phrasal verbs again, couple more. Oh, thanks, Joseph. That's very kind of you. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. So, let's see here. Let me get rid of this. Snooze. Wake up. Wake up is when you are no longer sleeping, right? But you might still be in bed. Wake up and get up are a little bit different. First, you wake up after you get up, okay? Get up is to leave the bed. But in this example, please be quiet. Let's not wake up the baby. Again, we have a regular noun, so it can go here, or you can put it, like I said, in the middle, right? So please be quiet. Let's not wake the baby up. And again, throw away, remember, is about putting something in the garbage. Okay, so could you do me a favor and throw away the garbage? Throw out the garbage, same thing. Or you could say, could you do me a favor and throw the garbage out? Or throw the garbage away, okay? In this case, we do also use, we're talking about our weekly garbage, or just whenever we need to take the garbage out of our houses, our apartments, we do use the verb take out, phrasal verb take out. Very common, okay? Could you do me a favor and take out the garbage? Or I need you to take the garbage out this morning, okay? So, now you know if your phrasal verb is transitive, meaning that you do have an object, you can put it in two places if the object is a real noun, okay? The exception to that is that if you change your objects to a pronoun, okay, me, you, him, her, it, they, them, us, etc., something, someone, then you must put it in the middle, okay, between the verb and the particle. And I will get to one more exception about that, but if your phrasal verb can be separated, this is the rule that you need to follow, okay? So generally, if you're having a conversation with someone and they mention a noun, when you mention it again, we change it to a pronoun, right? So for example, what should I do with the garbage? If you're asking your friend or your mom or your dad, hey, what should I do with this garbage? Okay? They might answer you by saying, can you just throw it out? Okay? It. Okay? When we hear the garbage already from somebody else, generally we often repeat it with a pronoun, right? Replace it with a pronoun. You don't have to, but it's common. So, what should I do with the garbage? Could you please throw the garbage out? Or, very common to replace it with a pronoun, okay? Another example, if someone asks you, do you like this music? They say, this music. Do you like this music? Okay, a negative answer. No, it's terrible. Turn it off, okay? Turn it off. It has to go in the middle because turn off is separable, okay? So if you said turn off it, big problem, that's not correct, okay? So just remember that if you can separate it and your object is a pronoun, it must go in the middle. Bonsoir. Meher, you're asking about pronunciation. Yeah, pronunciation is very difficult. I'm not sure how well it would go in this way because I can't see you guys. But I mean, always good to imitate me, right? You're at home. Maybe you have some privacy, or if not, maybe not, but say things out loud with me, like when I say something, you can repeat it in your own home, wherever you are, because that always helps too. And if you ever want me to say a specific word, just put it in the chat and I can say it for you very slowly. I can repeat it a few times, okay? So feel free to ask about pronunciation, specific words, okay? So, moving along, okay? Sometimes a phrasal verb is followed by a preposition, so that would be another particle, okay? Sometimes people call them two-part phrasal verbs or three-part phrasal verbs. A two-part phrasal verb would just be one verb, one particle, two, okay? A three-part phrasal verb would be one verb and two particles. Okay? But a lot of times, all of them are just referred to as phrasal verbs, all of them. Okay? Hello, new iCloud. Don't worry if you're late. We still have over half an hour left, so that's okay. Look at these phrasal verbs, okay? So when are you coming back to Canada? We'll miss you. Here, two particles, back and to. And like I said, so back is related to the verb coming, okay? An adverb connected to coming. Whereas to, it's connected to the object that follows it, okay? Canada, preposition. So coming back to just means returning, right? When are you returning to Canada? Come back. Please return to me. Right? Come back to me. My wife always tells me to stay away from casinos. Okay? So again, stay away But if you want to, if you do say casinos, you do need the other preposition. We cannot just say, my wife always tells me to stay away casinos. You do need that extra preposition, okay? Let's get out of here. I want to go home. Okay, so get out of here. Again, if you have here, you need of, okay? Get out can also be by itself, but we wouldn't say, well, we could say let's get out. You know, if you are sitting inside a car and you're done your conversation or whatever, you could say, okay, let's get out. Or if you're sitting in a hot tub and you've been in there for too long, you could say, all right, let's get out. Okay, so you don't have to include the preposition and the object, but you can. Okay, and people speaking casually and naturally, they'll say, let's get out of here. I'm ready to go. Let's get out of here. Okay, so it doesn't really sound like out of, but that's not very good pronunciation, but that's how people speak quickly. No problem, Wilson. Happy to help out. Okay, so I do want to go over to my document and just show you guys a few other things. It's a bit repetitive, but what we've talked about. So here, okay. We know, and this I will share with you guys so you have it at the end of the lesson. A phrasal verb, a verb with a particle. I have an S here because it can be more than one, right? The particle is a preposition or an adverb. Don't worry too much about that. Just know that it's possible to be either or. And sometimes the same particle can be an adverb in one context and a preposition in another context. Okay? Get out, plinio, can mean leave. Yeah. If you tell somebody, hey, get out, that's like a very strong, abrupt way to tell them to leave. Right? I don't want to see you, get out. You know, it's kind of in a negative situation. So again, two-part phrasal verbs is a verb plus one particle. Three-part phrasal verbs, a verb plus two particles, but all commonly referred to just as phrasal verbs. Okay? No worries there. And remember, phrasal verbs, if they are intransitive, that means there's no direct object, so there's no need to worry about object placement, right? So for example, I get up at 6. If someone tells you, I get up at 6, this is my routine, I get up at 6 a.m. every day, that's talking about when they leave their bed, right? Maybe they wake up earlier than that, but they get up at 6, okay? So we don't need to place any object here. However, if your verb is transitive, okay, you do need to think about object placement. And so far, we have talked about separable phrasal verbs, okay? You need to be aware of this vocabulary. Separable phrasal verbs simply means that you can separate the phrasal verb, okay? Inseparable phrasal verbs, this means that you cannot separate the phrasal verb. So the pronoun rule does not apply to inseparable phrasal verbs, okay? The pronoun rule does apply to separable phrasal verbs, okay? So for example, if I say, hey, turn off the TV, I don't want to hear it anymore. Or, hey, what did you say? I said turn it off. Okay, turn it off. If you do use a pronoun with a separable phrasal verb, you do need to put it in the middle, okay? Inseparable phrasal verbs, that rule does not apply. So for example, look after, this means keep safe, you know, protect. So for example, I'll look after him. I could not say I'll look him after. Does not make sense, okay? And when it comes to knowing, you do need to memorize which phrasal verbs are inseparable, which ones are separable. But a lot of times you might, just know that it doesn't sound right if you separate it. But I know that's difficult if it's not your native language. Yes, we have to say turn it off. We cannot say turn off it because turn off is separable, okay? So if it is separable, you must put the pronoun in the middle. Meher, the file comes at the end of the stream, so you will see it in the chat at the end of the stream. Yeah. Okay, so here, let's review that object rule. If you are using a transitive phrasal verb that takes an object, be careful with the placement, okay? Inseparable, okay? That means the object must come after, okay, I can even underline this, after the particle, even if the object is a pronoun, okay? Here are some examples for you, and I'll explain what they mean. I need to look into moving. My neighbors are way too loud, okay? Look into, this means investigate, okay? Like think of or try to look for new options. Investigate what your options are. Maya, but should we say turn off the TV set? Yeah, you can say that, or you can say turn the TV set off, because TV set is a regular noun, so it can be both places. Yeah. But when your noun gets a little bit longer, it's kind of nice to have it on the outside like that. Yeah. Joseph, we don't use a dash between phrasal verbs. No. So, look into means investigate. That's not separable. Can you look out for my little sister next year? She is going to your school. Okay? Look out for, this is like take care of, right? Or look after, same meaning. Okay? Protect, that kind of thing. So, let's look at these two phrasal verbs now with pronouns. Okay, these are not the same examples, but examples with pronouns. So here's a conversation, A and B. Person A, can you tell me where to get health insurance? Person B, no, but I'll look into it for you. Okay, so it needs to go on the outside, okay, because look into cannot be separated. All right. Number 2 example. You are so similar to your mother. You really take after her. Okay? Her, about meaning your mother, you have to put it on the outside. Okay? Because take after, inseparable. And take after means resemble. Okay? Like you act like your mother, you look like your mother, you talk like your mother, that kind of thing. So Maya, look into moving just means think about moving, investigate your options, look for, investigate what you need to do in order to move, try to look for new apartments or homes, okay? Moving is a gerund here, so gerunds, they can come after prepositions, right? Because gerunds act like nouns. Yeah. Lolly, you take after your mother? Me too. Definitely, I take after my mother as well. I think the older you get, the more you realize how much like your parents you really are. Okay, so hopefully everyone's okay with the idea of inseparable, okay? And we will look at some other inseparable phrasal verbs as well. Mike Chart, just seeing your comment now. Well, definitely just try and then have friends or teachers edit your work for you and go over it with you, but I mean, the first step is to, try to use them in your essay and then have some help editing. Peer editing is always good. Okay, so, and pay attention that it is informal. You can use them sometimes in essays, of course, but you don't want to use them too much. And some are better than others to use because they are just, they are way more informal. All right, separable, that means, yes, you can separate them, okay? And then you do have the particle rule, okay? So if the object is a regular noun, it can go in between the verb and the particle. That's one place, or second place. It can go after the particle. And this red rule exists. If it's a pronoun, it must go in the middle. Pillar, we'll look into the problem and have more information. That is a great sentence, yeah. But you might want to say, we'll look into the problem and have more information soon. Soon at the end. Yeah, but that's a great sentence, yeah. If you don't know the answer right away, a very common response is, I'll look into it. I'm not sure right now, but I'll look into it. Okay, some examples of separable phrasal verbs. I need to go home and let my dog out. Okay, that's okay, putting it here. Or I need to go home and let out my dog. That's also okay. If we do pronoun object, okay, pronoun object, I need to go home and let her out. Okay, we're using pronoun, must go in the middle. New iCloud, I can't give you a solid answer on that, but I would probably stay away from phrasal verbs in formal writing. I would not recommend using them in formal writing, no. But again, sometimes there is a time and a place where they might be okay. But if you're not sure, maybe just avoid using them. Okay, another example. Can you turn this song up? Can you turn up this song? No big difference, okay? Turn up the song means increase the volume. Yeah. Pronoun object, there is the rule. I love this song. Can you turn it up? It must go in the middle, okay? And generally, like I said, if you say the noun one time, we often then replace it with the pronoun, okay? But maybe sometimes you need to use the noun again if the person did not hear you the first time or that kind of thing, okay? All right, going back to Smrt. Let's look at some more of these Smrt examples. There are many, many, many different phrasal verbs, but let's talk about them. So particles on and off can be used to talk about clothes, makeup, glasses, that kind of thing, okay? And Gertie has a sentence, I have to take after my daughter's pet while she's living in Montreal. In this case, we use look after, okay? You can use the verb take, but we usually say take care of. I have to take care of my daughter's pet, or I have to look after my daughter's pet. But other than that, great sentence. Good job. So on and off can be about clothes, makeup, glasses, etc. Examples here. I need to put on my jacket. I'm cold. We've seen that one before. Maybe giving advice to someone. You should put on a warmer sweater. It's really cold outside. We could say, even for can I put on my favorite TV show? Or can we put on a comedy? I feel like laughing. Okay. Take off, remove, okay? If he takes off his glasses, he won't be able to see, okay? So in this case, we've talked about take off as meaning leaving or success, but in this case, with the whole context of the sentence, you should understand that this means remove, right? Remove, yeah. Michele, take care of. You do need of. Then it's the same as look after, okay? And you know, a lot of times when people are leaving or saying goodbye, they finish with take care, right? All right, I'm leaving now. Bye guys, take care. Take care. Just by itself might be something that people say at the end of an email or at the end of a text message or in person saying goodbye. But take care is usually for, not for close friends, but more for people you might not see again, people you don't see very often, that kind of thing. But yeah, if you're talking about protecting something, then it's take care of, okay? Like, please take care of my plants while I go on vacation, or please look after my plants while I go on vacation. Yeah. My see off is when you take somebody to the airport and see them off, you know, or take your friends to the train station to see them off. Like, bye-bye, bye guys. Yeah. Mic chart, Canucks are going to blow off Montreal. Blow off, we don't really use that for what you mean, I think. Blow off means when you cancel some plans or something, you know, like I had plans with my friend, but at the last minute she blew me off, okay? This means she canceled on me. So to blow someone off is very casual slang, okay? And it means to like cancel your plans on that person. So you might say, hey, don't blow me off. I really want to do this plan. Don't blow me off. Yeah. In this case, it's not slang. It's simply when the wind actually takes your hat and blows it away. Okay, so that's like literally the wind blew my hat off. Okay. You could say the wind almost blew me away, but we wouldn't say blew me off unless you're saying the wind almost blew me off the boat. Okay, this is literally, yeah. Okay, when you are shopping, okay, when you're shopping and you want to try something, we can just use try by itself. Hey, can I try these shoes? But it is very common to make it a phrasal verb. Can I try on these shoes? Okay. Can I try on these pants? Can I try on this coat? You know? Okay. Wash off. Okay, this is about makeup. But it can also be about cleaning. You know, there's a mark on the wall. Can you wash it off, for example? Before I go to bed, I need to go to the washroom and wash off my makeup, or wash my makeup off. Both okay. Try it on, exactly, Kelvin. If you make it a pronoun, try on is separable, so it would go in the middle. So if you say, may I try on these shoes in a 9 or a 10? And they're like, excuse me, what do you want to do with them? Can I try them on? Okay, them. Can I try them on? Or if someone says, hey, do you like my shoes? And you're like, yeah, I really like them. Can I try them on? Them. In this case, take off, which means remove again with clothing. You don't have to take off your shoes. You can leave them on. Okay? So again, I could put this in the middle. You don't have to take your shoes off. You can leave them on. Them must go in the middle. Great dress. May I try it on? Perfect example, Lolly. Good. Maya, what is stick around? So stick around means stay. Okay? So for example, if you're talking to somebody and they want to leave and you're like, oh, could you stick around for another like 10 minutes? I really need to ask you one more question. Okay? So stick around means stay. Okay? So if someone asks you, are you leaving? No, I think I'll stick around for a little bit longer. I think I'll stay for a little bit longer. Gertie, the wind blew off the leaves. Yep. Yeah. Or you could say the wind blew the leaves off the tree. But no, your example's good too. The wind blew off the leaves. Pedro, why you don't send me notifications? What's wrong with you? That's not my job, so I don't send the notifications. I think maybe they were just late this week. I don't know. Sorry about that. But I mean, it's every Tuesday, 3 to 4, right? Doesn't really change, so. Kelvin, he had a decent chance to score, but he blew it off. So in this case, it's okay. Yeah, your example is good, but we might not even say off. We might just say, but he blew it. Okay? This is just like an idiom, an expression. When you blow it, you don't succeed in what you're doing, you know? So for example, I wanted to get a new job. I wanted to, she wanted to get a new job, but she blew it, meaning she lost her opportunity, okay? We're talking about phrasal verbs, Pedro. Lolly, I'll stick around until the end of your lesson. Awesome, good, good, glad to hear it. Okay, so on and off can also be talked about for power, for electronics, okay? Very common. Why are the lights off? Okay, it's so dark. Who turned them off? When I arrive at school, the first thing I always do is turn on my computer. I can also use the verb switch on my computer, okay? First thing I do is switch my computer on or turn my computer on, okay? Next one, you shouldn't leave the engine on when you stop the car. You should turn it off to reduce pollution, okay? Yeah, you can make this on the outside. You shouldn't leave on the engine when you stop the car. You should turn it off. It must go in the middle, right? Okay. Get, the verb get, is often used when we're talking about entering or exiting vehicles, buses, trains, airplanes, but we don't use it with cars. With cars, we say get in or get out. But if it's a larger vehicle or plane or something, then you can use on and off, okay? So, for example, the bus is here, let's get on, okay? At which train station are you getting off, okay? When are you getting off the bus, okay? So, again, when we got off the airplane, we immediately felt the humidity in the air, okay? So, in this case, you could even just say, when we left the airplane, same meaning. When we exited the airplane, when we got off the airplane. Okay, so 10 minutes left. Let's go back to this document. And we'll finish off by going over a couple tricky phrasal verbs, okay? So first one, Okay, humidity just means sticky, hot, wet weather. Like Vancouver is not very humid, so it's nice in the summertime. It's not very sticky, wet, hot. It's like a dry hot. Humidity, it's like a very wet type of heat. Yeah. So, does anyone know what bring up means? Bring up? Why did you bring that up? Now she's upset. Let's not bring up the family drama at Christmas dinner. Vladimir, he brought his children up. Yeah, you might want to add a little more. He brought his children up in Africa, for example, or he brought his children up without any help, for example. And yes, so yeah, we've got what the examples I gave is about talking about a subject, mentioning something, okay? But the other meaning is about raising, yes, raising a child, okay? So yes, two different meanings. So we can come up with some examples. Bring up, let's put one here. So to raise, okay, for example, Vladimir's example, he brought his children up. We can say, we need to kind of maybe add a little bit more, without any help, for example. Yeah. Or two is to talk about a certain topic, you can say. To talk about a certain topic. So for example, yeah. Maya, yeah, get on the bus, get in the car. I guess just the size. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so to talk about a certain topic. So for example, let's not bring up work in front of Jim. For example, he won't want to talk about it. Okay? These are, bring up is separable, right? Because you can put his children in the middle of the phrasal verb. Okay? Or to talk about, let's not bring up work, let's not bring work up in front of Jim. That would be okay too. Okay? So work is your object. Good example, Brian. But we would say at a reunion party. Miriam, why did you bring her up in this conversation? Perfect example. Yeah, for sure. Seeing some good examples. Let's not bring up my bad grades. Exactly. Yeah. A lot of times people might say the fact, like, please don't bring up the fact that I haven't been exercising. You know, it's a sensitive topic for me. Please don't bring that up. Okay? Or, you know, you're heading home to your family dinner and, you know, you're talking to your partner or whatever and maybe saying, okay, let's not bring up this, let's not bring up that, let's not bring that up when you're trying to, you know, avoid conflict. Good. So that's what bring up means. Okay. Next one, call off. Okay, call off. What does call off mean? Vladimir, she called off her promise. We would more so say she broke her promise. But yes, to cancel. Why am I underlined? To cancel. Okay, to cancel. So, Joseph, bring on does not mean to raise a child or to bring up a topic. Bring on would be, you know, different, like let's bring some food on the bus. But in that case, it's not even a phrasal verb. Yeah, so bring on is not the same meaning as bring up, but bring on, is bring on a phrasal verb? I'd have to double check. Sometimes I gotta double check, that's life. Yeah, it is a phrasal verb for sure. But we can, it could mean like create, like if you eat that food, it might bring on a stomach ache. You know, like cause. Yeah. Bring it on is an expression. Yeah, when you have no fear, like, oh, you wanna do that? Bring it on. I'm up for the challenge. Bring it on. Yeah. It's also the name of a movie, an old movie. Bring It On. Good movie for teenagers, anyways. Okay, call off to cancel. And let's see. I see lots of good meanings here. Please do not bring up about salary in a job interview. So Gertie, your sentence, please do not bring up job salary in a job interview. Yeah, we don't want to use about. Just please do not bring up salary in a job interview. Yeah. Yeah, so to cancel, here's a good example. Let's call off today's meeting. Very common sentence. Yeah. Some more. The manager called, you don't want to use present simple because it's a specific meaning. So past simple, right? Called off the meeting. Good, Gertie. Sad example, but good grammar. I called off my wedding party because my mom passed away. If that's a real example, I'm sorry to hear that. Aww. Politicians like to call things off. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Jose, so sorry, but I have no time to go over that, and we always stick to one topic with these streams instead of jumping all around. Oh, good, Gertie. Glad it's an example. Yeah. Okay, we just have a few minutes. Catch up. What do you think catch up means? Let's catch up over the weekend. We haven't seen each other in so long. What do you think catch up means? We've got call off, bring up, catch up. You can do it, Jose, though. Just check online for grammar explanations on that. But just very quickly to tell you, be going to is for future. Present continuous is also for future. Be going to is more about intention, and present continuous is for definite personal plans. Okay? For example, I'm going to travel to Europe sometime this year, or I'm traveling to Europe next week. More definite. So hopefully that helps you a little. But yeah, to catch up. So we can say, yeah, one of them is to reach someone or something, okay, which Lolly said. So for example, I need to catch up on my English reading, okay. In this case, we are adding another particle on, catch up on. Or another example, okay, I couldn't catch up with the other racer. She was too fast. Okay, this is about speed. Yeah. And then Gertie, good number 2, to update someone. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so this one would be like my example. Let's catch up on Saturday. For example, we haven't talked in too long. Okay, so catch up in this case means update each other. What's new in your life, okay? Tell each other everything that's new, okay? And whereas these examples is about to reach something or someone, you know, if there's a better example of that, yeah, so like to reach a certain level, catch up on your reading, or to, you know, be equal, catch up with the other racer, and then it is also for updating, okay? Let's see here. Good sentence, mic chart. And Michaeli, catch up is inseparable. No, you cannot separate it. Yeah. That's why in this case, I could say, you know, I couldn't catch up with her, but I cannot separate it. Yeah, inseparable. Okay. So, everyone, we are at 4 o'clock. And we still have a lot of the Smrt also to go over. So phrasal verbs, we are going to do again another lesson next week, okay? So we will go over a couple more phrasal verbs. Definitely these ones we didn't get to, but I will put them on next week's document, okay? So those ones, you know, we'll do next week, okay? Gertie, nobody catches up to the Jamaican runners, maybe with plural. Just general statement, they are very fast. Yes, that's true. Pedro, good. Yeah, cheer up and have fun. Life is short, be happy. Nothing is worth it. Like nothing is worth being upset over. Yeah. Yeah, so thanks guys. If I missed any of your comments, I'm sorry. Try to get them all, but it's a bit hard to get them all every time. So let me put this document in the group chat for you guys, and I will be doing one more lesson on phrasal verbs again next week. Okay, so we'll repeat some of the grammar things to remember, and we'll mostly just talk about more phrasal verbs and examples using them. Okay, so take care, everyone. I hope you have a great week and have some fun, be productive, and yeah, hope everyone's doing well. We'll see you next week. Okay, bye-bye.